Welcome to the Higher Self. Daniel, Raphael, you're back.
It's good to be back.
What are we going to talk about? Ancient scrolls, the coolest person you've ever met with technology that stops aging.
Oh,
the
man.
difference between the negative, the positive, and the middle ground. There's going to be a lot.
We have a lot coming through.
Catch me up. What's been happening in your life?
So since you guys last saw me, I went through a dark night of the soul. I got black mold poisoning. I had to move out of my house. Then my next house got black mold poisoning. I actually had to attorney up about some stuff. That's all I can share. Had a breakup, like all these things happened at the same time. And it was really, really brutal. But what I realized is that it was showing me that, I read this book, Nowhere Mr. Nice Guy. It's basically that. I was still having this nice program and betraying myself for other people. And it showed me like, it's time to just fully be yourself and be in that full integrity with yourself and no longer betray yourself because other people have desires or other people want things and you don't want to disappoint them, etc. Because all I did my whole life was like, I love helping people, right? But there's a shadow to that. There's a gift and a shadow to everything. So in a nutshell, it slapped me around enough. Life slapped me around. It was like, okay, I'm just going to be fully myself. And the gift that came out of it was even my whole school. It was me just being the teacher. And I realized like, wow, I want to be the student again. I made this vow to always be the student. And my goal was always to have like something like out of Hogwarts, where it's like all these incredible masters. And so through that process, I met masters. I've been looking for years for masters and I've kind of microdosed them, but I found some that are actually like, whoa, I want to just train with you for life. And one of them I just met recently. Have you read Carlos Castaneda? He wrote a series of books about this one shaman he trained with that literally had superpowers called Don Juan. And most people believe that he's not real or that he's dead if he was real. And he's actually still alive in Mexico. And his number one apprentice I'm starting to train with, his name is Coyote, and he is a master himself. And
so let's pause for a second because I think we're going rapid fire. First, what is the dark night of the soul? Because
yes.
I don't know that a lot of people know what that is. Second, what is a master in your eyes? And third, I want to go into people pleasing and I want to go into what you've learned about that because I think it's a conversation we definitely have to have. So dark night of the soul.
Dark night of the soul, I believe, is when the divine, the universe initiates you because you've been running a certain level of program or patterns and it's time you realize, oh, the floor I'm standing on is not the best foundation. So it's going to pull the rug out of you and you think it's going to be the worst thing ever. But it's actually forcing you to release the attachments you have to things that are no longer serving, preparing you for what you've actually asked for. It's the blessing in disguise.
That's right. And you actually have to come face to face with a lot of your deepest fears. It's very scary.
100%.
I remember when I went through mine, it was with death, and I just had to face that one. Like it was my initiation because ultimately it's like, if you think about it, when you have a fear of death, you can't enjoy and live life.
That's it.
Because it's one and the same.
It's showing you where you're not putting your consciousness or love.
That's right.
It's your training partner.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's both scary and difficult, but at the same time, it's a blessing in disguise.
Always is.
Yeah. What did you learn from your dark night of the soul?
I learned that I was betraying myself by trying to still be nice or please other people when I was like, I don't really want to hang out with you, or I'm not in a space to really help you right now. And I would just keep putting myself aside to try to make the world a better place. And it had good intentions, but it has the shadow, right? There's actually a part of me just being scared of speaking my truth because I didn't have that safety growing up. So it was about me actually being the parent I never had and being like, okay, does this really feel true to you? And sticking with that over and over and over again. And, these gifts of even people taking advantage of me or the betrayal, all these things are.
As you said that came up for me.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Daniel, like, especially in the spiritual community, I'm going to say something that might bother people, but it's the truth. It's like the spiritual community is oftentimes a group of people who is constantly looking to grab resources, grab energy, grab truth, grab teachings, grab anything that you will offer them. As a result, most of the time they're financially broke. And so whenever you're financially broke, it's because you're energetically and spiritually broke. There's something not in alignment.
Exactly.
And so what happens is in the spiritual community, because they're on a journey of finding themselves, most of them don't know who they are, and they will gather. And if you have a gift, for example, they will suck that gift dry.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. We're like, I'm the opposite, maybe to a downfall. Like, I'm like a hermit. Like, you ain't coming around me. Like, you're cool with me, right? Because I feel like we have a love for each other, right? But, for the most part, I don't know. You're not taking from me like that, because I can see it and spot it. And I feel like that's what you're starting to learn to do. And once you can see it and spot it, then you can put some healthy boundaries around it and not allow people to take from you so freely.
Yeah, when you're operating energetically from scarcity, that's going to translate to your bank account. And I think it's because we're waking up. A lot of it's first generation or maybe second generation of people waking up, and they don't have that lineage of thousands of years of unbroken teachings that teach you some of the basics of reality. So we have to learn these hard lessons ourselves. And that's part of what we chose to experience in this lifetime. But it helps to have that lineage and understand the foundations of reality so that we can realize, okay, everything's a reflection. So instead of me starting to, keep grasping at all of these things, what if I just sat with it? What if I just really got curious and trusted? And, that's what this process helped me do, showing me the last places I was still grasping outside of myself and being like, nope, that's not going to work anymore. And I'm still glad that happened because I needed that.
I think it's also, I'm glad that you're sharing it, because it shows people that even while you're on this journey, like there's more to unravel. It's the person who, thinks that because they did a breathwork session or they went and sat with plant medicine, like, that's it, I'm here. This life is the journey. Life is the journey. And it's beautiful to hear you say that.
Yeah, well, I've never called myself a master. I'm an eternal student, but I feel like after a quest for masters, I have found a few. And, to answer your question, I feel like they're just embodying the spiritual universal laws in physical form. So it's not a conceptual thing, because you can teach it. You can teach it perfectly, eloquently. But what happens when the cameras are off, or, when you're in a relationship, or when you meet your family again for Thanksgiving, So that's really what in a nutshell, how I consider it.
Tell me the story. I mean, tell me about some of the masters that you've worked with. Like, this is stuff that most human beings don't have access to, because you're a little crazy. Like
I'm a lot crazy.
Yeah, you are. You go and find these people all over the world who manifest like diamonds and shit. Like, just talk to me about that.
Well, recently, I shared the story with the cobra in the cave I stayed overnight in, right? So, since that time, I went to a retreat in Mexico, and then I heard there's actually a woman she's from Saudi Arabia, but she's kind of like the female version of me, where she's like so wildly tries hundreds of things, and she's like, this is the best thing I've ever done. And he's in Tulum, and he does a private ceremony all night, him and his wife sometimes. And so I did a private ceremony with some mushrooms, and pretty big dose.
How many grams?
I think it was like 3.5, 4 grams, but then he gave it to me again a few hours later. And then it was like 12 hours of body work. I'm not talking about a gentle massage. I'm talking about like, you're like squirming and screaming and pleading for it to stop. And it just really just deconstructing all the things in our body that are still there, from entities and energies and traumas and lineages, and getting you back to that divine perspective. And he's a Sufi master. His name is Musa, and he's actually in our academy now. And highly recommend you chat with him if you want. I can connect you. But basically, he said jokingly at some point, it's like, what if we were just bored? We were all in heaven, because in paradise, you're enlightened. You can manifest anything instantly. You get any information instantly. So you get bored. And so we play this game. We come to Earth. Our memory is wiped, and then we're here. But at any moment, if we really want it, we can wake up. And so from that premise, it's so much faster and easier to heal and awaken, because it's like most people are like, oh, I'm a victim. It's going to take me years and lifetimes, but it's like, it's all just a game.
Yeah.
We don't have to identify with any of this. It's a dream. And that's really what it is. And so, but having that with all these healing tools at the same time, it really cracked me open, and I'm super grateful for it. So he's amazing.
We get bombarded by 5G and EMF 24/7, and it's clear by now how terrible it is for our health and our energy. As a parent, it's important to me to be able to protect not only myself, but my family, my kids. And quite frankly, there's only one product that I trust to do that, and that's Aries Tech. As the only patented peer-reviewed EMF protection solution, they're at the forefront of making my world and yours a whole lot safer. For over 20 years, Aries Tech has invested in cutting-edge research to create a product that is trusted by experts, neuroscientists, doctors, and even professional athletes. I use their technology to shield not only myself, but Jen and of course my kids from all electromagnetic radiation, which enhances not only our mental clarity, but our overall well-being. Every single device that we or my children owns has an Aries Tech on it. It's not just about protection. It's about living your life to the fullest without worrying about the invisible risks of modern technology. Whether we're working from home, we're hitting the gym, or just relaxing with family, Aries Tech gives us the peace of mind that we need. See the difference for yourself. Join me and thousands of others who've already taken their step towards a healthier life with Aries Tech. Visit ariestech.com and use the code Danny25 to get 25% off at checkout. Take me back to that. I don't think most people understand like life. I don't think most people understand that, you know, we come here, we forget, our memory is wiped, we go through the cycle, we go through the lessons. Talk to me about life and our journey in life.
I would love to. You know, I'm remembering it myself, but essentially you come here and your memory is wiped. You know, you forget your past lives, your divine, you know, origins. And so that we can learn these lessons. And there's often repeating lessons from different lifetimes we come here to master. And it's all about attachment. So it's about really letting go of the attachment we have. So let's say life is, you're playing bowling and the whole point is to throw the bowling ball down into the center. And on each side of it, you know, you don't want to throw it into the gutter. And so in the Rosicrucian tradition, they actually don't see a duality where there's like good and evil. There's actually the Christ consciousness and has nothing to do with Jesus. It's really just that pure divine alignment. And on each side, there's, you know, Satan, you could say it's real or just a metaphor. And then there's Lucifer. And Satan is like, there is no God, you know, get 10 Ferraris and, you know, have soulless pleasures because that's why we're here. And then on the other side, it's like, you are a God separate from the one power. And it's okay to enslave other people and not, you know, instead of being like, we're all one. And a lot of spiritual people can get trapped in that side or just dissociate, like take psychedelics every day, be like, the world isn't real, right? It's both, right? We're in a dream, but it also matters because we're here. You know, the divine put us here for a reason.
That's right.
So it's finding that middle path. And then when we do that, we stop getting trapped in these attachments on either side of the spectrum. And that's where the miracles happen. And the key is balancing that feminine masculine force. So we have that decisive energy because when you really just decide on something, it opens up, miracles happen. Most people are procrastinating or drifting. And then we need the feminine of just really tuning in and receiving, right? Because if you're saying you want that abundance with a partner, but then you're not receiving the intimacy, right? Or tuning into like, oh, go to this event. You might meet her, but then we don't listen to that. Then for years, like, why am I not manifesting?
It's interesting what you just said. And I that, you know, we are taught to believe that there's like good and evil, but like both of them were kind of like evil. And then what you're saying is in the middle is the Christ consciousness, which is truth.
Yeah.
Universal truth, which means we are one with God. God is one with us and we are one with each other.
Exactly.
And that's where the miracles start to happen.
Always. Exactly.
I got to tell you, once I finally, you know, got there, I mean, everything just starts, man, it just.
And it's easy. It's fast, right? It's quantum.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you're bringing this up because it's not only fast and it's not only quantum, but it's as big as you want it to be.
That's it.
Literally, it's as big. Just yesterday, I was having a conversation with my team, Casper obviously being one of them. And I told them, like, we have this event, Awaken. This event, it's proven. it is the event that if you are a human being and you are ready to like deal with some of your deepest things, if you're ready to go in, if you're ready to like start the awakening and the healing process, you come to this event, right? So I said, so it's like we have created the Tesla Model S. We have it. It's done. It's proven, right? But we're trying to sell it to 2 people. Where Elon Musk's is trying to sell it to millions of people. And I challenge all of them and I challenge my team's paradigm. And it's like, what are all of you waiting for to help me take this thing to the masses? Because we have it, it's proven. And it's like, I remember all of them, like, you know, like one of them was like, yep. And then a couple of them were like, oh, I get it now. You know, it's like, it was helping because this is how the dynamic works in teams is the entire team has to be in the same frequency, because if not, one of the team members will hold you back. And this is also how it works in relationship is that you both have to be in the same frequency. You both have to be in the frequency of love. Because if not, you're going to be in power control. I just got off the phone with this client of mine where, you know, the husband has decided to like no longer be in the relationship and, you know, they're going through this dynamic and, you know, I kind of guided the husband, look, the honorable thing to do is if you're not going to be in this committed relationship, like, then don't interchange energy. Don't do that because it's not good for her. It's not good for her soul, her energy. It's not good for you, your soul, your energy. And it creates a mess. You know, sure enough, now it's my conversation with the wife and I'm like, so how you doing? And I'm thinking that he honored this, right? And she's like, no, but what do I do? Every weekend and I go, but what are you doing? Right? You're in a relationship with someone that is telling you that they don't want this relationship right now, but you are choosing to allow yourself to give yourself into that energy. And I think this goes back to like, go back to you. Go back to honoring you and loving you. And I think that's what we've forgotten to do, quite frankly.
That's it. It's as simple as that. Honoring yourself is the antidote to the unworthiness and guilt that is the block to manifestation. You know, you could do all sorts of crazy manifestation rituals like, oh, at midnight, I made out with an owl at this time, like whatever crazy stuff, you know, that's not actually a ritual, hopefully, but, you know, but it's like, I have people that say all these rituals and they're still not manifested. It's like, do you feel worthy? Because if you're feeling guilty for stuff, your subconscious is punishing you. Because if you're guilty, you need to be punished, right? You're doing it to yourself over and over again. You're blocking it. And so the key is realizing in God's eyes, you are actually sinless because God doesn't judge.
That's right. There is no sin.
And an easy way to just quickly embody that is, okay, you came to earth, your memory was wiped. There's all these toxins around you. You learn the opposite of everything that's true. You know, you have all this unresolved stuff from your parents and grandparents. And then you get graded on all this stuff that doesn't even matter in school. And then, you know, that's why everyone, you know, and we take it on. It's like, there must be something wrong with me. And, you know, that's what I was at the extreme of that, where like, I didn't want to live because I thought I was like the worst person. You know, I didn't feel worthy of even having a friend, of even like having anyone like me, if not love me. You know, that's how deep it was for me. So I'm here to say it's all an illusion. And once you realize it's an illusion, there's actually nothing wrong with you. It's just a giant game. Then all of a sudden you can receive miracles again, because miracles is our natural state.
Absolutely.
And the big ones are just as easy as the small one. It doesn't matter the size of the miracles. They just are when you're in alignment.
I love that. I accept that. It's also interesting because once you become, like, I hear so many people when you talk about attachments, I really do see how attached people are. Many people are even attached to being in victim energy. So I'll have a call with our members and I will literally, okay, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I will hand you the roadmap. And many of the members are like, oh my God, thank you. I'll take this. I'll go change my life. But then many of the members are like, but wait a minute, but how do I do step 1? And I'm like, I just told you how to do step 1. Yeah, but how do I do step 1? It's an attachment to, what is the word? It's an attachment to constantly needing external help instead of finding the help within yourself. It's an attachment. Half the time people are asking me questions and I'm like, don't ask me a question you know the answer to.
Yeah.
I say, listen to your heart, listen to your soul. What's the answer? And then that's when the emotional release comes out, right?
100%.
The emotional release comes out because you just never have allowed yourself to honor the answer that you have within you.
That's why the top masters, they just ask more questions, right? Giving someone an answer oftentimes doesn't really help them.
That's right.
In rare cases, it can, but it's about attaching to yourself again, honoring yourself is the solution. Now you're reconnected to yourself. Now you have access to everything. And until we do that, we're playing this game.
But can I say something, Daniel?
Yeah.
It's interesting because like, just so you guys know, Daniel like will tune in with me and give me some answers. But even with us, it's like, I already know what the answer is before I ask you now.
Yeah.
There once was a time, like I remember you helped me with Jen before Jen was here. Do you remember that? We sat on your couch. This was like 2 years ago. And I was like, but I really want this girl to like me. And you were like, yeah, I feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's done.
You just got to chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. Right. There was a time in my life, a time in my journey. And I want to share this so that you understand like where you are, it's perfectly fine. Like, don't judge yourself. Don't beat yourself up. I was there. I was massively attached. Right. And now I'm in a place where it's really interesting, but like, I know not only am not attached to my relationship with her and she's not attached to her relationship with me, but I'm so unattached that you really can feel the frequency of truth so that when you go to like a person with a spiritual gift as beautiful as yours, it's kind of like you already know the answer. And I really believe like we always have. We're just removing the blockages. We're removing the barriers.
That's it. Think of it like you have the nicest, what's your favorite car? Ferrari, Tesla, but you got mud on your windshield and then you don't have their GPS on. Like, where do I go? What do I do? I don't know if I have a good car, but it's just like, once you just clean it out, the illusions, you're like, oh,
yeah,
I don't need to attach to anything anymore. So if we're attaching, we're just forgetting who we are.
That's right.
And we keep spending so much energy to chasing that person or that money or the external, but that actually pushes it away. And it's just put your focus on remembering who you are and waking up. That's right. And then that's where the magic happens.
How does someone do that? For someone like you who had such a severe issue where, my God, you didn't want to go outside.
Yeah.
You know, you're because of, I believe your gifting, you were just, you didn't know that it was a gift. Like, you know, how did you get to this space? If someone were to say, okay, I understand it and I can see how I do it in my finances, in my relationship. I could see how I do it in my relationship with my mother and my father. I could see it now. Like, what's step number one? What would you say?
That's a great question. Let me just share a quick memory that came up because so people can understand kind of where I was. I think I was about 10 years old and I was taking piano lessons and there was probably like 60 students of all ages, even like 18, and at the end of they had an award ceremony. I played this beautiful song and then she gave me the number one award. And so I was crying, walking down the aisle. I had no idea I was going to get it. But like, as I was walking down the aisle to pick up the award, I could hear like someone's dad thinking like, oh, my son, he screwed up a couple notes. Like my son didn't, why didn't he get the award? And like the whole way down, like I was experiencing everyone's thoughts and feelings with my own. And so it was hard for me to be like, how do I even process this? Because, that's how I would experience reality. I was born with it. And I think a lot of people are. So
hearing everyone else's,
I could hear their thoughts. I could see their energies. I could even see their futures. I get whole holographs, like when we tune in, even, a choice, I could see the whole thing play out. And it's great when you're giving someone a session, it's very valuable. But when, you're just trying to interact as a human being, right? So that was something that I tried so hard to shut off because I tried to tell, my mom's like, Mom, I'm special. I don't think I'm from here. And she's like, no, you're not. And then, so then I was like, okay, I'm just not going to talk about it. Maybe I'm not. And then I started gaslighting myself and being like, okay, let's just like go to a bar and drink alcohol and try to be normal. Right. So someone can like me because I didn't think anyone would really love me. And I think oftentimes kids can pick up on that and they attack you for being different.
Yeah.
And so, long story short, it was about starting to purify my mind and body again to get clear of all these armors that we put on, right? The armor, like you talk about, is now maybe what protected us when we were a child, but now it's blocking the intimacy, the abundance, and the deeper connection to the divine. And as we do that, it's also putting new boundaries of just honoring yourself, right? When you respect yourself, it's respecting your soul. And we have all these programs like, oh, be inclusive. Like, don't let this person out. What if your soul is saying, watch out, danger, don't trust this person, and you bypass it? I did that over and over again. We're taught like, oh, that's a good thing, that's inclusive, but it's actually, you just betrayed yourself. So first, honor your soul. And from that, you're going to be able to support millions more people by just having that be in alignment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How much can you honor your truth? When you feel that someone's energy is not right, when you feel that a situation is not right, when you feel that a relationship is not right, a client is not right, when you feel that someone is not right for you, when you feel that someone is not treating you right, whoever they are, your pathway to enlightenment comes from you learning to once and for all honor your truth. I call it, yesterday we were on a call with our clients, and I said to two girls, this is your pastor moment. Because for me, my moment came when the pastor was telling me, if you leave this marriage, you're going to lose all of God's blessings on your life. And in that moment, I thought, that's not love.
That's not love. That's not connection to God at all.
That's
That's not even understanding what God is.
That's no idea what God is.
Yeah.
But that's the moment that changed my life. So then yesterday, I was talking to one of our members. We were on the call. We were doing this Q&A. And she was asking me about, it's interesting to me the way that the mind always creates like the surface level issue, Daniel. And then like the more and more it's like the ego presents the basic issue, but there's something way deeper underneath it. She starts asking me like, how do I get balance in my life? And I go, explain. She goes, yeah, how do I get balance in my career? It's like, I'm starting this business. I want to help my mom with her business, but I'm also going to school. How do I get balance with it all? And I will tell me more about that. Like, what do you want to do in your future? What's your 10-year vision? So forth and so on. And I go, I just felt it clear as day. I was like, do you want to be in school? And she goes, I don't know. And I go,
that means no.
I go, tell me the answer. And the mind won't allow you. This is how it works. The mind won't allow you. And you gotta right. And I held space. I was like, tell me the truth. Listen to your intuition. Listen here, not here. And then she wouldn't give me the answer. She says, she starts crying. The emotional release, that's when the truth comes out. She says, I feel guilty. Bingo. You feel guilty because of what? Because my mom and dad want me to go to school.
Yeah.
It's their, okay, then whose dream is that? Is it theirs or yours? She said, it's theirs, but I don't want to let them down, but by not wanting to let them down, who are you letting down? Me. This is your pastor moment. Right here.
That's it.
And
taking it one step deeper too, their souls, the souls of the parents, the higher selves, they want her to be free. They brought her to earth to awaken. And so is it even their dream? Or is it, right?
Thank you so much for saying that, because I said, by the way, they're doing this from love, but it's from their limited perspective of what love is. Like, they want the best for you.
Yeah.
So they, as immigrants, by the way, they are working so hard to put you through college and put you through school, but that's from their limited perspective of what can become of your life based off of the pathways that society and the 3D world tells people that they need to take.
100%.
I didn't go to school. Quite frankly, I don't think anybody needs to go to school. That's a programming in and of itself.
It's a deep program.
It really is.
I think it's great. Some very specific people like have amazing skills from it, but overall there's so much programming in it. And I think going to a school of life, we need to be taught emotions and how to connect, right? There's zero of that in school.
Oh, Daniel, we should make one.
I think we did.
Did we?
Yeah, well, that's part of the and I'd love to have you on it. We're actually renting an entire village and castle in Italy for a few weeks in October.
Okay.
And having the masters I mentioned also going to be there. Would love to have you. And it's the real Hogwarts. It's the school of life.
Nice. I love that. I love you for that. That is awesome.
Someone had to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We also have our online academy now where they're all on there. And because I was like, what's the real Ivy League of life? Like, I just want all these masters, and it's so hard to find them, to vet them. And a lot of it's like so expensive then, but just having also like, it's accessible now.
Yeah.
And so that's been my dream, and it just got launched. So it's really a beautiful moment.
What's it called, and how do people access it?
Yeah. So it's called the Dreamporting Academy. If you just go to Dreamporting or hit me up on Instagram, Daniel Raphael 1, I would love to send you a free link to try it out, because it's really, really beautiful. Anytime you want to come on,
whenever you need me on, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Happy to. Aaron Apke was here. Which I love his work.
Yeah.
And I did a class with him and for his students, and I'd be happy to do that for you.
Oh, epic.
Yeah. Beautiful. Final thoughts.
Being easy on yourself. You know, as we're talking about all these judgments and things, right? It's still a concept. It's like, okay, there's so many layers of it, our mind, right? Just trying to make you do something because of guilt and all these things, right? So it's about really just relaxing your nervous system, remineralizing the body. That's a thing I just learned recently. It's so important to help our body actually calm down so we can actually live it. So we can actually just unwind the flower that's been crunched up and just live in that space of innocence. Because when we reclaim our innocence, just remember that we're innocent, all of a sudden our dreams come true because we're not in the way anymore. And so how can we just continue to relax? And that means being in full integrity, like sharing with everyone, this is who I am, this is what I want, this didn't feel good. And our mind trying to control, be like, oh, what if they get mad? It's like, what if they get mad? What if they leave your life? If it's not aligned, great.
That's right. I want to share something real fast. This is where most relationships are not centered in love. It's centered in an attachment. I see so many women, for example, or men, but in this case, it was a woman where I heard her tell me, several different ways in which her husband financially manipulates her, and she's telling me how she wants him back. And I say, hold on a second. You mean to tell me you want someone who manipulates you back? I said, that's not love. She goes, well, wait a minute. And I start giving her all these examples. And she literally says to me, wait a minute. Do you mean to tell me that 90% of all of the relationships out there are not focused on love?
Yes.
Yes. That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that love has no attachments. And I'm telling you that the only way that you can ever find real love is if you learn to honor yourself so much that if you ever were in a situation where a man or a woman or anyone, because men financially manipulate people and women emotionally and sometimes use their body to manipulate, right? These are signs of the wounded masculine and feminine energy. I'm telling you that if you ever found yourself in a situation like that, you'll know when you're ready to find love, when you love yourself so much that you would never allow yourself to spend a second of your life in that kind of frequency.
100%. And the way to do that is to ask yourself, how am I manipulating myself? Like, obviously her mind just manipulated her in that moment, right? Look what just happened. Or the other woman with the guilt. It's like, couldn't even say I don't want to go to school.
That's right.
So the narcissist thing is a big thing. It's like, okay, well, how are you gaslighting yourself? Saying that part of your emotions aren't even real, or your desires. And so those are the hard questions I had to ask myself to really break through, but it's worth it because then you stop the pattern, you're free, and you can have the life of your dreams.
I love it. How do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, Daniel Raphael 1 is my Instagram. Please message me. I'd love to connect with you. Dreamporting.com, and would love to give you a free pass to our academy. And if you can make Italy, that'd be amazing in October. So hit me up if you want more info on that. Hopefully you can come, maybe stop by.
Well, we'll be out there for our honeymoon and our wedding in September.
Oh, perfect.
So we'll see.
Okay, maybe a quick peekaboo at the end there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Amazing.
Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you.
That's this week's episode of The Higher Self. We'll see you next week with another incredible episode. And I cannot wait to see you guys at Awaken. Find a way to get there. We're coming to Palm Springs. We're coming to Austin. We're coming to London. Go to dannymorel.com/awaken.